accountable to the public. And again, we're going to take this mini film and with our big production crew and everything, obviously put out some special reports today over the next few days. I want to get the crew to be on this 100% because the public back in 2000 wasn't awake to fraud like they are now. They are supercharged, mega awake, and then it just gets more powerful as they go, breaking it down. Bev, do you think that's an accurate statement to say people are more informed now about election fraud than they were in the past?
Yeah, I think that, and you know, they really jumped on Trump when he said I might not necessarily accept the result, and they acted like it was undemocratic. No, what's undemocratic is to tell the public and the candidates that they must accept a result that they can never authenticate. That is not democratic. We were not set up like that, and the public has an absolute right to be able to authenticate every essential step of the election. So telling us that we have to accept it but we can never see the evidence is the most, I don't even have words for what that is. I don't know what that is. It's propaganda.
It's total contempt. It's total hubris.
Yes, it is. It's impunity. It's like we can do what we want. And, you know, you mentioned that you said that it was we were a nonprofit. I want to update you on that because we stripped the nonprofit status away from, we ourselves did, from black box voting in January of this year. And there's a reason for that. As a 501c3, I was not permitted to say anything that could help or hurt a candidate. And I knew coming into this year that I could not have that restriction on me. So we basically stripped that out, and we are operating as a sole proprietorship right now. I'm running it, and I'm doing the exact same work. But let me tell you a little bit partisan, but I don't really care, you know, it's not about candidates and which one wins, but it's about the process, right? But one thing that I have noticed with the Clinton machine is that they telegraph what they're going to do. They build a media narrative around it so people will accept the result. And so one thing that has alarmed me very much is that I've been watching a media narrative that basically is targeting Georgia, Utah, and now Alaska, indicating that those are in play and they might go, you know, might reverse trend and go for Clinton. Georgia, Utah, and Alaska are some of the very few states who are 100% using this system with the fractional counts. And each one is controlled by one central power. So when knowing what I know about what this system can do, if they said if this particular GEM system was going to be used statewide, which states would it be? There's only 4. There's Georgia, Utah, Alaska, and Mississippi. That's it. So to see 3 of the 4 suddenly saying they're in play, what a surprise. They haven't been for years and years, but now they're in play. That telegraphs to me that they plan to take those states or try.
You know, Bev, I'm not just saying this. It's so amazing to talk to somebody who's so immersed in this and, of course, was a storied, very successful fraud investigator previous to taking this on, to be able to have you on and know and see how astute you are, because almost everybody else I talk to in the media or in research doesn't get it, but the mainstream media and the big think tanks will tell you what they're going to do before, how they package the propaganda, how they roll it out. And exactly, they're telling us that those states that were normally Republican are now going to go for Hillary. And as you said, you're more of a liberal, but a classical liberal, a real liberal, the type of liberal I respect that tells the truth no matter what. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as a liberal, I mean, is it not clear that Hillary and the media are trying to sell the idea that there is an election fraud and that Trump's going to lose by a landslide when the polls and everything else show something opposite?
Let me put it this way. Of course, things have been very surprising of late, but if she is still viable in any way, whether or not she wins, she will win.
Wow, please say that again.
Whether or not she wins, she will win. Now, she may be removed from office afterwards, and as you may recall, Richard Nixon was right in the middle. He had been 4 months into Watergate scandals and was reelected and removed from office later. But what's so disturbing about that is, you know, there's actually some Republican elites who might prefer getting her in and removing her from office.
Oh, of course.
They can't control.
Of course, exactly. The whole power structure is against Trump. I mean, whether he's perfect or good or bad. I mean, if we claim we're against the corrupt power structure, then how could we not be for Trump? I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, and I really feel like this is, I'll say this as well. Whatever anyone thinks about the candidate, I will say that when he has brought to the front the issue of tampering with elections, it's one of the most important services that could have been done in the United States ever. Really important, because it was taboo for the media to talk about it, and it forced them to talk about it. Now, they put a whole bunch of happy faces on it. Well, it can't be done because blah 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 blah, which was kind of nonsense. But it forced it out into the public, into the open, and I think that's the kind of the beauty of actually having the real public actually pick their candidate, is because you may get someone who at first glance you kind of go, I don't know about that, but it can make the pendulum start to go back the other direction when that happens. And I just think that alone was just so important, because we cannot, if not now, then sometime, if we keep doing these unauthenticatable mystery elections, there will be a perfect storm, and there could be something that becomes very destabilizing. We need to solve this problem.
Bev Harris, I tell you, Pure Veritas from blackboxvoting.org, founder now. It is a profit think tank for free speech. They can be more effective, so be sure and go to that site and support her work. No one on the left, no one on the right, no one internationally cannot say she is the highest respected for her integrity, whether it was on HBO or NPR or Vice or CNN or Fox News. Everyone has to admit this woman goes where the story is. She exposes Republicans. She exposes Democrats. She exposes it all. And you just heard her in deep research, fraction magic voting going on in key states where they can remotely, at the Central Tabulation Center, shave the votes, pre-program it, and then hide it. Total proof these election machines are Pandora's box, absolutely foisted. The establishment wants us to be asleep, to not know this is happening. But just covering this today, I want to thank DrudgeReport.com for caring about our elections. It's top linked, middle column, red linked. How America's elections are hacked, missing link discovered. Vote fraud expert Bev Harris details it. It is now up there on Drudge. Quite frankly, the article is important. The video is powerful, but I think this interview is even more illuminating. I mean, I'm 21 years on air. I am having trouble actually talking at this point. This is so incredible. If people haven't seen the video, if they just tuned in to what Bev Harris was saying, I'm going to add a link to the article that's on Drudge, and I'm going to tweet right now at Real Alex Jones. If you guys can tweet that, a top election expert is exposing smoking gun of election fraud on air now. Because I agree with her that the elite are preparing everyone for Trump to lose, even though she's way behind, even though they're adding 9 points, 12 points, 15, 20 points in the samples, even though every Democrat I know, folks, almost every Democrat I know now in the last 2 weeks says they're voting for Trump. It's happening all over the country. I can't believe it now. I would get hissed at wearing a Trump shirt 6 months ago. Now people come over and say, you know what? She is a crook. I'm going for him. She robbed it from Bernie Sanders. And so I think there's a huge landslide for Trump, and I think she's right looking at the pre-narrative, how they're getting everybody ready for him to lose in these key states. I think those are the states we watch. So Bev Harris, you've got the floor for 5 minutes. A lot of new people tuning in right now. Recap the incredible smoking gun. This isn't like you got the code to Diebold and proved they could cheat and then went back and looked at some of the paper ballot evidence not matching. It's not like you caught the programmers admitting they were stealing it. You have absolute proof on how they're able to do it all over the country, built into it, so they can. You have discovered the built, crafted back door, not some rat hole where they could maybe do something. You have discovered the smoking gun.
Yeah, and let me tell you who put it in there. Okay, when Benny Smith found this, at first. He said, I said, well, maybe it's just in Memphis where you are. No, I got all my databases. It was in all my databases. And then he pointed me to some programmer emails. And following those and some other documents I have, we were able to pinpoint the exact date they put it in there. Now, that date disturbed me very much. It was in June 2001 because I knew that who controlled the company back then was a person who had been convicted of 23 counts of computer fraud and had formerly worked for, you can't make this stuff up, formerly employed by Bud Crow, who was the head of the Watergate Plumbers Unit under Nixon. Okay, I still have people going, well, it could be in there for an okay reason. It's just that it happens to be able to be used to control all the votes in the U.S. Okay, fine. And it was put in there by a convicted computer criminal who spent 4 years in jail. I have his Department of Correction things, who used to work for one of the Watergate people. But if you can believe what you want if it makes you feel better, but I think it's pretty clear what's going on.
Beyond sensational. Please continue.
Well, again, I want to come back to the fact that the solution is already available to us and doesn't even cost anything. These new machines are all taking pictures of the ballots. The ballots, they should put those on the web pronto. And if you simply, yes, technically you could alter an image, but what you do is you have a serial number on every image, and you also let people go and examine the paper ballots and match up those serial numbers and make sure they match if they feel like it. Game, set, match. You cannot tamper the election very easily at all if you release all the ballot images.
Bev Harris, you have solved it. You have solved it.
People check the ballots.
You've solved it with your team. Have a printer, print off a copy. It's got a serial number. There's a digital copy of it. People can spot check it, and we all police our republic.
And guess what? Those things are already available. They're just not letting us at them. So that tells us a great deal. They're already there. And at this point, let's get rid of their excuses, which are turning into so much nonsense, and say, okay, we're done with that. We're done with that. Fraction magic. We are going to look at the ballot images. We're going to look at the ballots. Do what you need to do, and we're going to look. If
you just tuned in, Bev Harris, the top respected bipartisan election fraud expert, broken more election fraud than every other election fraud expert in this country's 100-year history since we had modern reporting on it to a certain extent. Undoubtedly, total credibility. Finding what I believe is her biggest breakthrough yet with this fraction magic. This is actually the Rosetta Stone of fraud. And so I want to ask her, what do we do to reverse this? Because you're saying clearly the fix is in for Hillary. One way or another, she's getting in. I mean, I never heard you in the 16, 17 years we've been talking ever using language like that. I mean, this is amazing.
Right. Well, one of the things to do, if you've got the clout, is to get temporary restraining orders to prohibit them from destroying the ballot images. Why? It's a federal record. They're not even allowed to, but they're doing that. They're turning off the feature. They're saying we need to turn off the feature so that they don't exist. So that's one thing that can be done right now. And whether or not that's done, go ask for the ballot images. Go in there with a USB stick the day after the election and say, I want all the ballot images under my Freedom of Information right. Put them on this USB stick. Thank you very much. And then if they obstruct or say they don't have them, document it. Videotape it. Document that they have destroyed the key audit record that would authenticate the count.
Wow. Bev, in your decades fighting this, have you ever broken something this big?
No, and I can't say that. You know, you keep giving me all these.
No, I know you don't want the credit, but you're the tip of the spear. You've organized it. Well, all I'm saying is, for everybody listening, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the big enchilada. This is. It is.
It is the big enchilada, and there's the man of tremendous courage in Memphis, Tennessee, named Benny Smith, who was the guy who found this and unraveled this and basically showed me the key. He called me a year ago.
He is the amazing African American. He's the amazing.
I knew when he contacted me that he had the key. I was like, oh my goodness. And we have literally, I've been putting this guy through his paces. I did not want to report something unless I was absolutely dead certain that it was true.
Well, tell us about.
Let me tell you, it's true.
Tell us about this incredible American patriot on the other side. What a game changer. Final segment with Bev Harris. I'm almost going to just walk off and let somebody else host the next part of the show to be able to get this ready and get this out because, well, it's already out on Drudge. Folks, get it out on Twitter, Facebook. Right now, people are hungry for the truth. Bev Harris and her researchers and this great American have blown it wide open. Incredible, Bev. I've got a couple more questions for Bev Harris. We have 2 red links on drudgereport.com right now. Please, everybody, get the video that's linked in the article. Send it out to everybody you know. Go to drudgereport.com. It's the easiest place to find it. Get the article, How America's Elections Are Hacked. Missing link discovered. Top vote fraud expert Bev Harris exposes electronic voting machines. But as she pointed out, I'm probably going to change the headline. It's not the machines. It's the central tabulation. So we would say vote fraud expert Bev Harris exposes how the election is currently being stolen? Or, I mean, you're the expert. What headline do we put on this, Bev?
You're going to have to choose the headline.
I know. I just want to be totally accurate. A vote fraud expert, Bev Harris, exposes, the big enchilada, or, I mean...
You know, it's I just call it the magic key. I mean, it really literally is. You picture a janitor going down the hall with the master key jingling at his side. He can open any door with it. There you go. You know, we've basically got...
So you have found the mother lode of election fraud.
Yeah, it tells you how to do everything. And, you know, you really can see it depicted, and it's just...
And I know you want to give this fellow credit. We are in a moment. I want to get him on and you back on, please, please, please. I know I've been wanting you on for months. You've been quietly working on this. Briefly, though, George Soros, 16 states, his company, he's connected to others. He's been caught in a lot of stuff. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I have seen some indicators. Now, there's a company called Dominion. There has been some mistakes where people thought that the Smartmatic was being used. No, Smartmatic hasn't been used here. It's been used in Latin America and a bunch of other places. But he's connected, I think, it's kind of through a couple of hoops, but with a company called Dominion. And Dominion is one of the ones that bought the Premier Diebold stuff, and they have now admitted that they fractionalized the count.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
So a Soros-connected group?
Again, it's, you know, it's sort of connected through a couple of arm's lengths, but it's enough so that I wouldn't call. I think there is some connection. It's just it's like one of his guys.
Sure. Well, that's what he does with Media Matters and everything. That's how.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's kind of similar. Like Mitt Romney kind of got involved with Hard Civic, but it was through his son's, LLC.
And Senator Hagel.
They don't do it directly.
Senator Hagel and all his hanky-panky. So.
Yeah. So I mean, there's always going to be a couple of buffers in between.
But Soros-connected group. It looks like maybe admitting to be involved in the whole fraction deal. Wow.
Oh, they have, yeah. They one of their top guys said that they did it. There's there's a group called Defend the Vote in Illinois, and the woman involved with that, Sharon Maroney, actually confronted Dominion and they admitted that they do fractionalize the count, and she asked them why, and they said, for marketing purposes.
Wow, they hide it in plain view. Bev, I know you probably got to...
what they're selling, but I can guess.
I know you probably got to go, but how do we support blackboxvoting.org?
Oh, you know, I really do need it. I have not asked for donations in 4 years because I've just, and this last year, I just basically, you know, my method of doing things I already have is produce, prove, show people stuff, and then it will come to me. And I do definitely need it, you know, because man, I am on a tear. I've got another project right on the. You're
getting $35 from me a month right now to defend my vote. You are awesome. You're defending my children. You're amazing. Bev Harris, blackboxvoting.org. Now, if you got to go, it's fine. If you can stay 5 minutes for the next hour to talk about the gentleman that discovered this.
Oh, heck yeah. To talk about Benny Smith, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to go to break in about 50 seconds. Any other quick points before we go to break?
No, let's just go to break and then come back and talk about Benny Smith.
All right. Again, Bev Harris, blackboxvoting.org, drudgereport.com, fighting for your right to vote. Top links. Get those out to everybody. We're tweeting it at Real Alex Jones. We're going to post these videos. Which has a powerful headline, but I mean, on YouTube, it needs to be named, the mother lode of election fraud discovered. Hillary plans to steal it. I mean, we need to get all these videos out. This is incredible. Stay with us. We don't have a siren like drudgereport.com does, but I noticed Rob Dew on a news alert I did Saturday put a siren on it. We ought to grab that news siren he got and put it behind us today. A serious form of flattery is imitation. And point out, we are in Fuego. We had 10 times the traffic we've ever had about 6 months ago for a couple days. We have tripled that record, ladies and gentlemen, with the traffic we have. 5 million people basically on the site at any one time. It's all Bev Harris. Today was a big day. A lot of folks were on the site, 1.5 million or so at one time. It went completely insane, over 5 million. The InfoWars may go down, prisonplanet.com. I knew Bev had something big going. She used to come on whenever I wanted her to come on. She hasn't come on in probably a year. She's been working on this 6 months, and she says she's going to be traveling because she's on the road. This lady's incredible. But it's exciting to me to know people are upset, they're concerned, and this has gone total viral. And I feel like I'm not even doing it justice how bombshell it is. And we got 4 minutes left, or 3.5 minutes. Bev, other key points you want to make to viewers and listeners, and talk about the man in Tennessee that discovered this.
Yeah, well, this is the key of it. You know, we, all of us, it is up to us. And each of us has different skill sets that can do miraculous things. Now, the guy I told you about, this computer fraud guy back in the day who actually put this in there, he had 3 kinds of expertise. He had expertise in database programming, expertise in accounting and finance programming, and expertise in political demographics. Along comes Benny Smith, and for the first time looking at the system, somebody with the same portfolio of skills. He is a database programmer. He works in finance, and he understands programming for finance because this was related to that. And he does political demographics. He saw what was needed immediately because he had that set of skills. And I'm telling you that to say, number one, I just think this is a tremendous patriot, a tremendous guy. But also because we each of us have different kinds of skills. And stepping up to the plate doesn't mean you need to go become a computer programmer. If you're good at public speaking, you go speak. If you're a good writer, you write. You know, whatever it is, if you're good at organizing people, you organize. But you step up, stand up, and do something.
Well, Benny Smith, we salute you. I mean, if I had something other than water here and lemon juice, I would toast you, but that's not good luck. But Benny Smith, we salute you. You're incredible. Yeah. Bev, I know you never like it, but let me tell you something. I mean, I interviewed the other vote fraud experts that were before you, the Collier brothers and others, and they died, and their daughter, she's great, and other folks. I'm just saying, you are so dynamic. You've done with your crew and the folks 10 times what anybody else ever did. So that's why I single you out, because you're amazing, and you're such a treasure.
Well, thank you so much. It does mean a lot. And mostly I do it myself. I just do it because it's important, you know. And I think, but there's a lot of people that are doing things. And there's a guy that you should have on that if you haven't yet, his name is John Brakey out of Arizona. This man is a one-man dynamo. He came out. I've known him for 10 years.
Bev, you tell us who to have on.
This year.
You tell us who to have on. It's on. You can program the info war.
You got it. You got it. I mean, he is. He's going to blow your mind too. And I mean, this is what I see, and this is what's exciting: is people, regular people,
are onto it,
stepping up, and they are making a huge difference. That's how we take it back.
Wow, blackboxvoting.org. Yeah, you've been on the show 16, 17 years and never asked for donations. You try to sell a book or whatever to fund yourself. She is asking for donations. She should get out there, cover the election fraud this year, now ongoing. You heard her earlier, and she's been a Democrat, folks. She's just being honest. Hillary is stealing it. The evidence is overwhelming. It's very, very sad. Trump is right. I mean, I went to the doctor's office this morning for a checkup. The nurse was telling me everybody, including her sister, I was on the phone with her sister, that they're all having it flipped to Hillary. We're out of time, but what is this flipping? That's the old-fashioned...
Yeah, in Texas, you're Texas toast, I say. It can be happening at the voting machine also in Texas. It can happen both places in Texas, and there does seem to be flipping and different things happening there. So maybe they just really, really want to take Texas, and they're just, pulling out all the stops. But again, it comes back to, in the long run, we need paper ballots. We need to be...
We do, and you're exposing it. Thank you. Thank you, Bev. Amazing. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You going to sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you going to be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action. We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.